So we're recording now, and we will be sending this link out to anyone who can't make it. But thank you so much for joining this webinar. And rather than, feeling like this is some sales pitch or something like that, it's not. Probably the biggest part of this is that we have a community of people who we're responsible to, and we want to help as much as possible during this pandemic. This is escaping no one. I'm here with my family in a house in Los Angeles, scared stiff to go anywhere. Not that we're allowed to go anywhere other than the shops and the doctor. Wondering what the protocol is for even going to the store at this point, and whether it's safe to go to the store, and what happens is the virus sitting on a box of lettuce or a box of, a jar of olives, like what's the protocol? Are you meant to wear gloves? Do you wipe everything down? I don't have any of those answers, other than I'm sharing that I too am in this pickle right now, trying to figure out how to negotiate stuff. Just been on a call to England. I live in Los Angeles, been here for 17 years, but to my parents, going, please don't leave the house, and trying to explain to my mum what you should do on an exercise bike, because she hasn't done a lot of exercise in a while, and I was just trying to go, all right, you need to get out of breath. That's the main thing. Your lungs need to work. If you get this coronavirus, it's the lungs that matter. So anyway, I'm in here with you, trying to figure this all out. So my team and I, we've been thinking about how we can contribute and how we can be relevant right now in supporting the community. And we've come up, I feel like we've come up with some pretty good things. And I wanted to show you some of those and how Real Plans can help you to figure out what's what. And I'm going to kind of just make my face a lot smaller here, if I can. No, not so small. Okay, I'm going to remove my face. Whoop, I'm gone. And I'm going to replace it with this here, Real Plans. Can you do a quick poll, Katie, and find out how many people actually have Real Plans and how many people do not? So we'll hang on, I'll put my face over this. So we'll do a quick question, and it'll help me to understand how to explain, how to be useful on this call. But I'm going to assume that most people have access or have an awareness of Real Plans and what it can do. First of all, I'm going to spend 2 minutes going, this is what it does normally. You come in here and you normally have some kind of a meal plan. So I'm going to rerun this meal plan here. And it's based on me having a schedule and a dietary restriction. And we're really good at that. You put in, I'm gluten-free, for example. When I eat wheat in America, I get eczema on my skin. Maybe that's TMI for this call, but that's what happens to me. And so I can't eat wheat. And I think it's mainly because of Monsanto, who, by the way, have renamed themselves to Bayer. Did you know that, Katie? Monsanto have renamed themselves to Bayer, B-E-Y-E-R, to try and kind of, because Monsanto's name has been tarnished so badly. Anyway.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Also, we'll throw an allegedly in there because of maybe allegedly Monsanto. Or
yeah. So anyway, allegedly. I'm not sure. But anyway, just probably in front of a bunch of people, I'm going to get in trouble with the corporate gods now. But anyway, can't eat wheat in there. So I've got the gluten-free plan. There it is. And also, you can add a couple of ingredients that you don't like or what have you, and it does this meal plan. Now, this is great. Fantastic. And then you've got a shopping list that kind of matches, obviously, the meal plan that you've set up. But over the last few weeks, realize that when you go to the store, you're trying to grab food that's in the store. You're not going, oh, I've got this, I'm going to now make my balsamic glazed pork chops and baked potatoes, when last time I went to the store, there were no carrots, fresh garlic, or fresh ginger in my local store. But now I'm in a huge urban area and things are a little crazier here than maybe where it is where you are. But apart from the kind of the cliched loo roll not being there, it had lots of other stuff that there were no carrots. Couldn't believe there were fresh carrots.
I'm going to interpret for everyone that loo roll is toilet paper. That almost flew right past me. And just checking in here, so we are about 80% have used real pans before.
Great.
So, and I also ran a poll about anyone having issues, and everyone absolutely said yes. There are 0 no's, so we are all in the same predicament.
All in the same boat. Okay.
Jealous of everyone's carrots and or loo roll.
So you're all stuck with the loo roll. Okay, good, because you roll anyway. So here we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do how we usually do it, which is kind of get a bunch of recipes and then do the shopping list. I think we're going to do the reverse. So here what I'm doing is I'm just clearing the meal plan. So you can just actions and clear the meal plan like that and get rid of all these recipes, because this is not relevant. It's the other way around. I'm wanting to know what to do with the ingredients that I have on hand. And so this recipe box is something that I want to kind of help you kind of navigate a little better and talk through and talk about what we're going to do over the next few weeks to support people. So I don't know how many people actually kind of play around this recipe box a lot, but it's actually pretty powerful based on you over the years telling us what you want. The first thing here is that it's got my diet checked, which means that it's showing only gluten-free variants of things, things that I can actually eat. And it's just showing me all the recipes. So I've got 2,000 recipes that I can play with. Now, how I'm using it is that I'm going, all right, let's break this down into what I have in my pantry. So I'm starting off by going, all right, let's go to chicken. So I'm clicking main ingredient chicken, which is reducing this down to things where the chicken is the star of the show. And then what I'm doing is I'm clicking entree and main course, and I'm getting down here. And now I'm getting to chicken entrees. And I'm going, okay, still okay, but still a little too much going on. Now, if you click on additional options down here, you've got a bunch of stuff. And we recently added this number of ingredients. So I wanted to just take a minute to explain what this means. Now, number of ingredients, what we've done is to try and make it as useful as possible. We've taken out all of the herbs, vinegars, and oils, which in the end you can play around with, and what you have in your pantry is what you can use. And then just looked at what the remaining ingredients are. So when we say a recipe has 3 ingredients, it may have 6 or 7 actual ingredients, but those ones include garlic powder, olive oil or something like that, which these are kind of staple items. So I can then now go to number of ingredients, and I can go like this. And so now what I'm doing is I'm bringing things down. Let's have a look at the whole page and see all of them. Oh, it was just that extra one. So I can now go in here and figure out what I'm going to do. Because if you have a bunch of frozen chicken sitting in your freezer, if you've stocked up, or you bought some rotisserie chickens and you've put those into the freezer or what have you, this is a great place to figure out how to kind of mix it up a little bit, how to kind of change it slightly, and how to make it more interesting. So here you can, let's look at the lemon pepper chicken. And here you've got lemon juice. So lemon juice and some garlic if you have it. I still have some left. And some paprika. And it just gives like a slightly different flavor to what you've got going on and how you can, how you can serve it up. So in my house, we have abundance of pork. And so I'm looking through pork dishes and trying to figure out how to present the pork differently so that the kids don't feel that I'm just making them, little pork balls the whole time. So this is kind of one way of dealing with stuff. Now that's kind of looking down and breaking down kind of entrees and what you can do with one ingredient. Now another way that you can do stuff, I'm just going to clear all of this. I'm going to stick to my diet because it's kind of more relevant. And I've been looking at how to deal with, so that's how to deal with a protein. If you're saying, okay, well, let's have a look, at anything to do with potatoes. I'm going through this as well and thinking, all right, well, I've got a bunch of potatoes. What am I going to do with all of these potatoes? And there's different things that you can do. Now, there's something in here, side dish, which is pretty cool. And you can go through, and this is the way that I came across. I used to have a boss that I used to implement accounting software called SAP. And he used to say, you got to eat your own dog food when you're working in a business. In other words, you got to kind of, use your own software. So we had SAP inside our own system to run our own company. And it was a very cool exercise. And so in Real Plans, when people are working in Real Plans, we encourage people to use Real Plans as much as possible. And so here I am kind of looking through going, what do I do with these potatoes? And I came across these scalloped potatoes and they were absolutely amazing. And because there's like a little extra time, I was sitting there with the kids and we all working on like making these really thin slices, and we put them in. Actually, we used real cream. I didn't use the dairy-free version. We had some heavy whipping cream left, but it was nutmeg, cream, and salt with potatoes. And my daughter had these scalloped potatoes and was just going, and she said, "Daddy, this tastes like a potato croissant." And as she was biting into these scalloped potatoes, she could feel the layers kind of collapsing as she was biting, and it was absolutely delicious. And if you have a little more time because you're at home, these are the kinds of things that you can do. You can spend a little more time kind of slicing the potatoes. And also the potatoes, I layered the potatoes right from the bottom of the dish all the way through the dish rather than just throwing them all in and then kind of making a nice presentation layer. I put a picture of it on Instagram for Real Plans if you have a look. It's the one that I posted last night. But it's this beautiful presented dish. So you come across these gems that are actually kind of pretty straightforward to make.
And one thing to note, too, if I can, you may find some things in here like nutmeg. Not everyone's going to have nutmeg in their pantry. And so if you don't, you obviously can always Google some substitution options. We are available by email, so you are more than welcome to email us and see if we have an idea. We like to play a lot with recipes, so we usually do. Or in this particular case, you could leave the nutmeg out and it would not change your dish tremendously. So if you struggle with cooking or if you just don't know some swaps, always feel free to reach out to us because there's nothing we love more than helping be creative during this time.
Yeah, so I'm going to have that. Thank you, Katie. I'm going to go back. Now, there's another thing you can do in here as well. Is that you can find recipes that have all the ingredients you have on a certain thing, not meals, but recipes. So you might say, okay, I have chicken and I also have garlic and I also have, I don't know, some kale or something like that. And then you can search and it will search everything that has those ingredients in them. And by ingredients, it's loose because a lot of these will be using chicken stock as opposed to just chicken itself. And so you can play around in here and you can, trying to find like different ways of approaching how you might come across different recipes. And there are a slew of recipes. Now, you can do this on the internet. You can just kind of go to, or recipes.com, or go to, there are recipes that have recipe sites that have a lot of stuff. The real difference between what we're presenting here versus what's available outside is just that I and my team, we personally have tested each and every single one of these recipes. So the quantities are good, it's consistent, and it's following a real food philosophy, meaning it's nutritious. It has nutrient-dense food, which, as we all know, we need to keep our immune systems solid right now. Lots of exercise, and also eating well. And this is part of kind of what we're wanting to do. So this is just a kind of a guide to what's possible inside the recipe box. Of course, as well as importing recipes and then having those imported recipes and laying them out. The other cool thing I like about this. So let's go back to. I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to go back to chicken entrees. Yes, I'm going to go chicken, my diet. I'm going to go chicken here like that. Okay, good. And I'm going to go back to those 3 ingredients. And I was kind of interested in this. I think I'm going to try this lemon pepper chicken. So I'm going to schedule that and put that in for lunch. So let's imagine we've got this going on. Go to the meal planner. The other thing is that you're actually kind of putting together, meals like this, and then having a plan. And based on your inventory, you're able to plan out what you're going to be eating each evening. So the strategy that we're following in my household is that we're trying to go to the store the least amount of time as possible, and just to try and be socially distant, basically. And so we have meals that we're planning. And then every now and then I'm lucky enough to live in the kind of near Los Angeles. And so I'm able to call up, and then once or twice a week, we're calling in, a meal from a restaurant, because they too need our support, economic support. And there's no in-dining going on in Los Angeles. I don't know what it's like in your area, but we're calling in and then ordering a little bit more and then having the leftovers from that too. So I think, one of the things we've really learned from doing meal planning is that you can try and if you haven't got access to those services, of course, then you're cooking the entire time at home. But mostly, it's trying not to be too pious about, I have to cook the whole time and I have to make sure. There are occasions where I think, it's totally right to break the continuum and to bring in some, I don't know, from an Indian restaurant, just order a bunch of stuff and then eat that and then build that into, other things that you're doing. So
real quick too,
Katie?
One thing I wanted to note, it feels real silly to put this plan together when you're like, I'm not shopping because I have this in my pantry. But what I found is the deluge of information throughout my day right now is just overwhelming and staggering. And so I can sit there and look at my pantry and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the next 3 days. I have plenty of stuff. And then 2 hours later, I've read so many news articles and had things thrown at me that I've almost forgotten what I have and what the plan was. And all of a sudden it just looks like a bunch of stuff in a pantry and not any real food. And so I think that having a plan gives a little bit of mental peace of mind, and it takes that space out of your brain where you're trying to remember things and it's just already there for you. And you can have one area where you can breathe and feel like things are under control.
Yeah. And I'm going to come back to that in a second. I'm going to be showing you guys in about a few minutes what we've been up to in the works. We were working away, pre-pandemic, about to come out with a new release of the meal planner, which I'm going to show you shortly, that no one in the public has seen before. So I'm quite excited to show someone out there in the world. We're busy testing it right now. But before we get into that, I think to touch on Katie's point, for me, cooking is a moment of control. This pandemic is not something that any of us can control unless you are either dictating policy or legislation, coming up with, packages to help businesses or whatever. I am not on the front line of this pandemic, but I'm trying to be supportive where I can. And the cooking just gives me a minute where I'm preparing something and I'm focusing on like that scalloped potatoes, just cutting this and slicing through stuff, or just kind of sorting through things, and just you're in the moment. You're not thinking about what's happening or what thing is going to happen over the next few weeks or what has happened. Instead, what's going on is that you are in the minute, like a surfer, sitting in the outback, just looking to see the next wave, and it feels really good to do that. And plus, every single evening, we're sitting down together, communally, eating and talking, and then we've got this kind of no screen at the table and no screen for a good half an hour afterwards. And as we digest our food, I'm sitting down with my kids and talking through, what's happened in the day and what's going on. And it's actually been really lovely. And one of the original reasons that we did Real Pans in the first place, for me, it was that it binds society together to sit down, cook, give your love to someone. This is why this logo is a bowl with hearts on it. You're giving love to someone by cooking something and putting your effort into it. And this is a moment where you can extend that love to your family, to your loved one, to your household. Yeah, there we go. I'll get off my soapbox of while we're here, but I think it's deeply important. And I hope that Real Plans in some way will inspire people to continue to find ways to inspire those cake noises as you're eating whatever food you're eating. So let me switch over. I wanted to show you something that's quite exciting. So you see how here we've got a meal planner, and then you go over to the recipe box and you schedule stuff. Well, this is what we're up to, this. So we've completely redesigned Real Plans from the ground up. It's also really quick too. So you can go in here, you can search for whatever you're going to search for, and then you've got recipes here. And then this recipe, you can, oh, I clicked on something, I should have dragged it. This is a very early dev thing. But basically you can drag your recipe. I should have known better than, hang on.
It's nothing better than a demo.
No, it's nothing better than 50 people checking out your new software. But here, look, you can just kind of, you drag it over like that, which is really nice. And then you can go in here and then you can go, ooh, that's nice. And then you can look through it like that way. You can remove stuff here. You can go in here and you can move meals around, or you can, so basically the idea is that you're able to search from here and then quickly just move over. And so you, as you're building your plan up, you're able to, visualize it really quickly and see what's going on. Plus, this is lightning fast as well, which is really exciting. So this is what's coming. The other development that we're working on now in the background is this, what's in my pantry, and you'll be able to just list a whole bunch of different ingredients, and then we can give you a set of different recipes that will make up all of the different things that you have, and then you'll be able to like stick those on a plan too. So the idea really is to help with the current situation, which is, I have an inventory in my pantry. What do I do with it all? And how do I, because most of us, if you're anything like me, probably has about 8 or 10 recipes memorized. And then you start to kind of go great. And so you just serve up the ones that you know how to do over and over again. And when you're cooking for your household, all isolated for weeks, maybe months on end at this point, I don't know, then variety is key, just to keep everyone's spirits up. Katie, is there anything else you want to add to this presentation?
There's not, except for that we've got a couple of comments in here saying that they love the new design. So I wanted to pass that along.
Yeah. Okay. Gosh, we worked so hard on this thing. We work hours and hours. I have these 3 developers that have been working with Real Plans for years in India. And they're going through it too. I think Modi, the president, has just ordered 1.3 billion people to stay indoors for 21 days. They too can go to food stores and go to the doctor. But if the coronavirus really takes hold in India, it'd just be a genocide. It'd just be awful. And so they've just ordered everyone inside. And so they've just been panicking because, getting food and all that kind of stuff. But they feel they have this mission. They have this look in their eye right now of knowing that this is helping many people. And so they are coding like you wouldn't believe and pulling this thing together as quickly as you can possibly imagine. And this other kind of pantry utility that I'm thinking of. Can you just do a quick poll? That pantry thing where you put in all your ingredients and then it kind of spits out all the recipes that make up that. And as you put them on your plan, we can disappear the ingredients that are left and the recipes. How many people would find that useful? So if you...
Taking the poll right now.
Brilliant. By the way, I'm Antony Bartlett. Let's just do this whole introduction in reverse. I'm Antony Bartlett. I'm the co-founder of Real Plans, and Katie, whose voice you can hear. Maybe Katie, you should, if you had your little face in here next time for the webinar, we could show you as well.
Oh yeah, it won't let me. Yeah. It won't let me turn on the video camera. That's interesting.
Oh right. Oh well, next time.
Maybe it's because I'm not the presenter.
We'll figure it out. But so Katie is kind of the chief operating manager and is also working many hours to bring this all together. So poll's gone out.
Poll's gone out. It might be too soon for a political joke here, but we have a resounding all yeses. So I would like to promote everyone here to make decisions for all of us because we can all say yes to things.
Good. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the feedback and testimonials and everything that you bring to Real Plans when have been emailing us or what have you has just been rocket fuel for us. We really want to make sure that we keep this fire burning as much as we can and support you as best we can. We're as a company having to make hard decisions the whole time, and we're as terrified as anyone else. But we're still here, and we're going to make sure that we keep at least an ember burning for us all the way through this pandemic, and keep the doors open as best we can in order that we can support our community. Okay. Are there any questions or anything like that anyone wants to ask us, or are we all set and get back to the code?
I think we are all set. It looks like, everything on here is just about some launch stuff. So I answered that and we're good to go. Great.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining this meeting, and hug your loved ones close. Stay safe, and
I'm here's hoping this topic is outdated, like within a couple days.
Yeah, please. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Have a great one, y'all.